On the Retail Design Conclave, the art of storytelling. So can we get you all back into the conference room? I have a bunch of panelists who are feeling rather lonely. In about 30 seconds, and they're going to walk out on me, which might not be a bad thing, because then I could just talk myself. I mean, let's face it, no one wants to hear you guys. Yeah, it's just me. It's all about me. Well, welcome back, everyone. After logistics, technology, marketing, it's now time for another crucial component of retail, design. We just heard Simon talk a little earlier about convenience. It's not just about the convenience, it's about the entire experience that you get when you walk into a store. Consumers don't just shop for products today. They're looking for that unforgettable shopping experience, that mind-blowing retail experience that can be created anywhere, whether it's in a luxury store, a value fashion store, consumer electronics, or even a restaurant or cafe at an everyday grocery outlet. Creativity no longer has any rules. You have playfulness, you have dramatic graphics, you have stick-straight shelves, you have wide alleys. So on the one hand, there's experiential retail. On the other hand, there's simplistic, user-friendly design. There's a need for plush in certain areas, futuristic interiors, but you also need to ensure navigation from one point to the other, viewing, broad walkways, moving trolleys, moving strollers, all the things that we experience when we walk into a store. And that's where design comes in, functional, intelligent, awe-inspiring, and unforgettable design. And we've got a great panel that's going to be talking about just that. I'm going to walk around and get you guys to introduce yourselves, just so everyone knows why you're here, why we actually got you sitting at this table, apart from the fact that you're all incredibly, incredibly good looking and have paid me vast sums of money. So.
So, me first? You first. Okay, my name is Marcus Case. I'm art director of Schwitzke and Partner, located here in Dubai. We are a retail design architectural office, and originally based in Düsseldorf, Germany. We have some more branches in London, Paris, Krakow, Berlin, and here in Dubai. And we work internationally for Uniqlo or Apple and Abercrombie & Fitch, Hollister, Tommy Hilfiger, Esprit, and I have the pleasure to work with Nisreen on the latest fast forward concept for Virgin Megastore, and with Khurshid being in one of the speakers yesterday for Marina Home. So that's maybe the two most well-known concepts we did in this part of the world. Yeah, and very proud to be here the first time. Happy about that.
My name is Nisreen Shokair, President of Virgin Megastore Middle East. Design has been the core of our business, and one of the elements that we've done to keep it exciting and refreshing is to continuously add new elements to the stores, and ensuring that, in addition to what you said about pragmatism and functionality, that each one of our stores looks and behaves differently, which keeps the element of fun and surprise. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Shahzad Kidwani. I'm the General Manager, Trading Division for the Murad Yusuf Ebahani Group based out of Kuwait. We currently have 23 luxury stores in Kuwait, mono-brand and multi-brand put together. We're one of the oldest luxury retailers in Kuwait, established in 1935, so we're actually celebrating 80 years this year. And we continue to dominate the Kuwait luxury watch and jewelry market. And when it comes to design, we work very, very closely with the brands to ensure that we meet all their required standards. And in our own boutiques, we come up with our own different concepts, which the brands really, really appreciate. And that reflects in our sales and the way we control the market in the luxury segment. And it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
You notice how everyone's saying that? Wait until we're done with them.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rob Canning. I'm the General Manager of In Vogue Furniture Store and Interior Design Company. We're a very new company, only a year old in Dubai, part of Gulf General Investment Company. And before that, I was working for Bow Concept across the Middle East and North Africa. And it's a pleasure to be here today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shuja. I'm with the Jashamal organization as a director. At Jashamal, we represent a number of franchise brands throughout the Gulf region, about 200 stores, various formats. We also have a very large distribution business and also a newspaper and magazine distribution business again. I've also got a day job, which is a company called Lucre. And at Lucre, we are a boutique company, and we bring to market emerging brands and concepts.
Good afternoon from me. My name is Markus Bayer. I'm CEO of company Attraction. It's a group of companies based in Austria and Germany. Our company is not a retail designer, we are attraction designers, so we create the entertainment wows to make a mall unique. And I will also show you one of our latest products, which is entertaining robots for malls today, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Luca Cappuccitti. I'm the head of global business development for Design International. Design International is UK based in London firm, and was founded 50 years ago. So this year will be our 50th anniversary. And we work as a shopping mall designer. We are kind of weird designers because we have, under our holding, we have a leasing company called DI Leasing. So we work very, very close to retailers. And so we try to design our shopping malls based on retailers' needs. Again, very happy to be here. And I would like to thank either Lawrence and Amitabh, because I believe, and we discussed before, this is a very nice formula in terms of sharing experiences, sharing thoughts, instead to go on stage and do speeches. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sadiqa Sohail, and I'm the owner of Spontaforia. We're a Dubai-based independent concept store that's a boutique, bakery, cafe, and event space all in one. As the owner of Spontaforia, we designed the entire layout ourselves, keeping in mind a sort of very cozy, intimate, homey atmosphere. So that's something that sets us apart from a lot of stores, the fact that it's got a very casual living room feel to it, which is what I'll be sharing later. So it's really nice to be here today. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Wells. I am the Property and Projects Manager for Lush Cosmetics. Lush Cosmetics is a cosmetics retailer. We've been around for 20 years now. We are an environmentally aware and ethical cosmetics supplier. And within our stores, we're challenging ourselves with the greener refits. So sustainable materials, and we're trying to get our stores accredited for basically the work we do around that area. Thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Mark Lack. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Géant across the Middle East. We currently have around 32 million customers visiting us every year, and I have a mission to make grocery shopping more exciting again.
Hi, my name's Stephen Holbrook. I'm on the executive board of Kamal Osman Jamjoon. We have 780 shops in the region. Our primary USP is we have for 30 years been developing our own brands, not franchise brands, although we do have some. So very pleased to be here because our philosophy is our brand is our store.
Perfect. Luca, can I throw it over to you now? Can we run Luca's video? know, the one theme that kept coming out in that video was luxury and plush and experience. So I'm actually going to kick off with what luxury actually means over here now. Is it a brand like Lush, which isn't a designer brand, but is that luxury in its own space? Is it the living room feel that you're creating that makes me feel like I want to walk in there? Is it the Virgin Megastore? I love the Virgin Megastore. There's nothing luxurious about it, but it's the one place that I can walk in and buy a book. And to me, that's a great experience. Then you turn it around to the country that I'm in India. Marks and Spencer's and Zara and Mango and now H&M are considered luxury brands. So are we redefining in various markets the concept of luxury? Are we redefining luxury to mean more than just the name and the logo on the door, but what's actually inside the store, what's actually inside the environment in which we walk?
May I start with this? Well, I just extrapolated, and you're right, some keywords from the video that we watched before. There is today something that, in my perception, is called the next level of luxury. Not for all markets, of course. We talk mainly about mature markets. The perception of luxury today in most of mature markets is not anymore about the logo and the brand. It's about understanding the heritage, the work, the leather that there is behind a pair of shoes or a handbag. So I strongly believe that in this kind of markets, the perception of luxury is going back actually to artisan, to custom-made, tailor-made. I just mentioned one episode when I'm from Italy, when I studied in Rome. When I was, first year of university in Rome, 18 years old, student, not that much money in the pocket. We used to go in Via Condotti and the luxury shopping street. And of course, as kids, we would love to enter into the Gucci store, the Vuitton, the Prada, wherever. And I remember there were at that time bodyguards in front of the stores. Yeah, thank you. In front of the stores, just looking at you, said, "I'm sorry, the store is full." "What do you mean the store is full?" "You cannot enter." This is talking about 20 years ago. That time, the luxury goods were really for the elite spenders. Today, I think the most of the luxury brands, it's for everybody, basically. Everybody can, plus or minus, afford within the years something from the luxury brands. Again, the perception to let people understand what is behind the work of an artisan that basically can sit down with you, can interview you, understand your taste, your needs, and then deliver to you a product that it's just made for you, it's customized for you. I strongly believe today this is luxury.
You know what, Luca, I suspect that most people at this table are going to agree with you on that, about the artisanal effect, about how you're creating a new environment for people with the kind of product that you're providing them. Nisreen, you sell everything that is anything but artisanal. What's luxury when I walk into your store?
So we always say that we're trying to provide a premium experience, not premium pricing. So when you walk into Virgin, you can find something for 50 dirhams, and it can go all the way up to 15,000 in the store. Across the board, whether you're buying something for 50 dirhams or 15,000, you're getting the same environment, you're getting the same customer service, you're not asked to queue more than 2 minutes, you're getting the same bag, and you walk out feeling just as good as you spent 15,000. And I believe that going forward, that is the expectation. And it's very easy for retailers to be able to provide that. It takes, years of consistency. But what we try to always do is, regardless of how much money that you have, if you've decided to spend your time, and you've decided to spend your 50 dirhams with us or 15,000, we will provide you with the same level of quality customer experience. Of course, there's a limit here. There's basically a minimum the customer expects as to how a store needs to be merchandised, whether you are a bakery, a concept store, a grocery. They expect things to be clean. They expect things to be tidy, to be nice. And from then on, it's what you provide as far as the overall experience that adds to the luxury.
Shuja, you said you were bringing in luxury brands into the market. It's a recent venture for you. Is it the brand that people are looking for? Is it the experience? Is it the expectation? What's going to make that difference in the experience in that store when they come in?
I think luxury means different things to different people in different parts of the world. You talked about India briefly. Brands like Marks and Spencer, perhaps perceived as luxury. Over here, you have what consumers know are luxury brands. You've got the Gucci's and the Pradas and the Burberry's and the Vuittons. Luca touched on a development where he felt that mature markets had people looking for more qualitative or bespoke products. I think it's still early for this part of the world. Customers who come into luxury stores, by and large, look at a label, look at a certain check pattern, they look at a gold G or whatever, and that sort of is more than enough for them. I have never seen people asking about, is it stitched by an artisan in Paris or Milan or elsewhere. I think in the Gulf we're still far away from that level of maturity. But bringing luxury brands into this market, I honestly believe it's pretty much about the brand name. People want to wear brand names on the outside, fortunately or unfortunately, and that's just the way it is. That's the way it is.
Shahzad, I saw you nodding back over there. You have a take on this?
I completely agree with Zuja. I mean, that's what we sell. We sell those brand names. But more and more we find within those brands, there's also competition. We have to sell the story. Why this brand versus that brand? People want to know the history behind the brand. They want to know why should I pay so much money for it? They've started to question. And we are trying to answer those questions. We're trying to educate them by actually having seminars explaining to them, why would I pay so much for a watch? It tells the time, right? That's all it does. You could get a watch for $50 and we sell watches for 50,000. We have to go into minute details to explain these people why so much. And slowly, slowly they are understanding and appreciating it. And as they appreciate it, we see that they tend to come back, ask more questions, and spend more money.
Gary, you talked about the greening of your stores. Is that the next experience that customers want? When it's not, I mean, let's face it, I'm going to be rude and crude over here. At the end of the day, you sell soap. I walk into a store, I'm not thinking luxury, I'm not thinking experience. I'm walking in there, I'm buying a bar of soap, and I'm getting the hell out of there. What makes me come back to Lush?
As I say, when we talk about the customer experience, we're talking about the whole kind of manufacture of that product that you're buying. So we're looking at ethical purchasing for raw materials, for the components, and for the actual product itself. When you're looking at our shop fits, we are constantly pushing ourselves to look at, obviously, sustainable materials, as well as, obviously, complementing the products. So we won't have, and you'll see in a lot of our stores, we won't have a lot of packaging. So near enough, over 50% of our products aren't packaged, so we're not contributing to the waste industry. within our refits, we're using water-saving initiatives, electricity-saving initiatives, which is basically returning unwanted fuel back to its source. Customers that come into Lush want to know that. Obviously, the main focus on Lush is the environmental awareness, ethical standards, and we are strictly against animal testing on anything that we use. That literally has to go through to all of our materials within the design concept as well. So it's our woods, it's our stains, it's our, anything that we use within our stores. We can give that experience to the customers, and they want to know that. They want to go on that whole journey. So if you spent a little bit more time in our stores, you probably get a little bit more of an understanding there, a little bit more knowledge, and enjoy that a little bit more, that experience a lot more.
Sadiqa?
Yes, I have a lot to share when it comes to that. I think Dubai is still very much brand conscious. People like to go to names that they recognize. So for us, coming in as a new Dubai-based store, it was more like a blank canvas for us. It was an opportunity for us to really get to know our customer and to forge that personal relationship with them. And I think that's the new thing in retail. It's personalization, customization. We're constantly being bombarded with a sensory overload of experiences and images. So it's hard to really stand out in a customer's mind. So when you provide that, one-to-one experience, that's something they're going to remember because they'll see you as a face, not just a store. And that's what we've gone for. And so it's taken a while to sort of get people to recognize our concept and understand the quality of the products that we're serving. But it's getting there, which is good because I see customers changing in their mindset, wanting to support smaller designers. There's a need for uniqueness now more than anything else.
Mark, are you seeing that? You were grinning back there.
No. Again, there's a definition of luxury in different departments, whether it's a clothing store or a fashion store, and from our side, being a mass market retailer, luxury to some people could be a biscuit with cream inside it, yeah? Whereas to other people it's just the biscuit. We've been doing some different experiments with our hot food counters, and recently we worked on a 10 dirham packet of rice for a certain customer base that comes out of one of our stores because they're the labour class. Now for them, being able to have a 10 dirham biryani pack for lunch is a luxury because A, they've got hot food because they're not always able to actually cook that product themselves. So from the mass market side, to be able to personalise and customise for 32 million transactions and more a year will be extremely difficult. What we've got to do is actually find a way of making the shopping experience itself more exciting because there's nothing more boring at the moment than going into a 10,000 square metre big box, everything filled with beige shelves, and walking around being completely bored while you're doing your shopping. And that's something that we're working towards now, is how we actually change the shopping experience to the way people live their lifestyles and the way they want to buy products instead of the way that we do them. A perfect example of this is electronics. Right now in electronics, we merchandise everything together that has a plug, and that's how we merchandise it. But whenever am I going to buy a hairdryer with a flat screen TV? So what we're trying to do now is look at how we can actually move those hairdryers where they should be, which is actually in health and beauty, not next to flat screen TVs. Similar for small appliances. Why do I, again, put small appliances, kettles, toasters, blenders, next door to DVD players, where they shouldn't be because they shouldn't be together? What I should do is move all of those items into a kitchen area so that you can actually pick up your blender with your saucepan, with your sauce pot, with your whatever, and actually start putting these categories back together again in the customer's mindset because this is how they operate. We've changed the customer's way of thinking to our way of merchandising, and we need to change it back again to get back in touch with our customers so it feels more natural to walk around the store.
Stephen, can I throw that to you?
Yeah, sure. One of the things that as a group that we've done is strategically, we're a retailer, we're about stores. We're not necessarily about advertising, we're not necessarily about, it's about stores. So in terms of significant changes, we've been shifted investment back to making the store an escapism. So for us, the retail design, the retail experience, what happens, is much more important to us than our advertising, than our branding to a degree. Because when our customers, in this region, customers shop a lot. They come in the stores. I was hearing, 3-4 times a week for some stores. For us, it's 3 times a month at least. They come into our stores. Shopping is entertainment. It's what they do. The Middle East is broader than Dubai. It can be very Dubai-centric sometimes, but it's broader than Dubai. You've got very big markets out there. And the environment that you create within the retail space, it's no longer something that that can be looked at on a P&L. Okay, and I think that's a big change that we've learned, is the customers now have access to the internet. They can surf anywhere, they can get experiences anywhere, and they don't look at Ralph Lauren advertising. They look at Ralph Lauren stores online in New York or in Bleecker Street or in Soho in New York. That's what they want to experience out of the brand these days, not just a badge.
Rob?
Yeah, in the homewares and the furniture industry, the word luxury has been used and abused so much. It's an amazing thing. It's affordable luxury. There's all sorts of different uses of the word luxury. If you look through any magazine, you'll see it being used over and over again. And I think, again, like some people have already said, I think luxury for me is so much more about the experience and the service offered in the store in the way of customizable and those kind of things. Our company was set up under exactly that. When I took over in Vogue, it was set up exactly under the typical thing. Luxury will work in Dubai, bought a load of luxury products, stuck it in a store, and expected it to work. And it didn't, it struggled. Lo and behold, it's not really surprising. So finally now the board has agreed to focus on the experience, about what services are being offered, and still maintaining luxury, but doing it from a completely different perspective and offering that to to people that can afford it, and it doesn't have to be expensive. And that's so hard for people to understand.
Marcus, you've got design experience in a range of brands, going from the more budget brands all the way through to a Virgin Megastore. Is that what's happening? Is that experience far more important now than that brand on the door?
It's both. I mean, if you have a great experience and you enter the store and not the right product is there, it doesn't help, right? But in general, I think the experience is key, because maybe, to use the word again, luxury. Luxury is if the people spend time with you, with your brand in your store, right? I mean, they sit at home watching TV at the same time they're using the iPad looking at products or something, right? Or buying even something. So if you really get them and they spend time of their valuable time they like in your store because they love it, that's the best thing you can attract. And then you can sell them something. So to add this extra value to the experience, to catch the customer's attention, that's key. That's key, all right? And for me, it's all about the experience. You have to tell a story, and the story must be interesting, right? If you say it's about storytelling in store design, you have to tell an interesting story, and a story you want to hear 3 times a week, right? And because there's always something new, or it excites you always and again. And the story must be clear. If I tell a story which is very complicated and nobody understands, then it might be a good story, but it's too complicated. If you have a store design, and the store design should transport the story, if it's a clear story, if it's a clear image, if it's a good understanding, the people walk by, they don't know the brand maybe, right? They say, oh, it's a new brand from Asia or whatever. I don't know the brand. But look at the store, it looks interesting. I want to go in, I want to listen to the story. If it's a new brand and they not have a clear picture where they're in the price level, where they're in the fashion level, where they are coming from, what they're selling, then the people say, I don't get it, better not. I go to that what I know. But if the story is clear and it's easy to understand and it's interesting, you get excited, you get in, you check it out. So for me, that's key.
Marcus, you've got another take on what is exciting.
You're all very focused on design, but what we have heard from Rob and Marcus is also much more about experience, and that's our specialty, to create an environment and an experience where people get entertained and where people get a feeling that they become a princess or are a princess or a prince by being special by experiencing that entertaining experience in a store or in a mall. I think so far, mostly the shopping malls and brands have much more focused when it comes to experiences on purely entertainment. But to strengthen and lighten this experience to become a real luxury experience, I think is a very good idea and something people need to focus much more on. And due to storytelling, not just in design, also storytelling by media and ingredients with actors and projections and whatever, you can create something unique and very much luxury.
You had a video that you were going to throw up on screen, is that right?
Is it the right? Yes. So the video is about an entertaining attraction we created for a shopping mall in Shanghai. It's Mecca-Line. It's the largest furniture chain brand in China. They operate more than 110 malls. It's a very unique concept. It does exist, from my perspective, only in China. So you have huge shopping malls like Mall of the Emirates, but it's only furniture stores and ingredients in this shopping mall, what you need to build your house, to design your flat, and there is nothing else. There is no supermarket or typical stores with what you know. So we were asked to create an experience which makes the mall more lively, because the problem what they had in this mall is because of these big stores, you know, furniture is big, they have a lot of empty walkways. And there is not so much traffic like you see here in the malls in Dubai, because how many times a year you redesign or design your flat or your house or you build your house. Therefore, we came up with an idea which actually became a real product, which, for example, here in Dubai, we just started working for MR with it. The video is a promotion video from Mecca-Line, so it's partly Chinese, partly English, so I try to talk a little bit on the Chinese part. Please start the video. So these robots, they roam the floor inside the mall, so that it's actually always something happening. They speak, they can perform, they communicate with other robots, and they know exactly where they are going and where they are driving to. So they can meet together in groups, they can talk to individuals, and because they can navigate so intelligent, they also can bring people to the place of desire. That's also luxury, for example, that somebody is guiding you to your shop. Please louder.
Conquering Mecca-Line's newest furniture mall in Shanghai. They appear in groups, they drive informations, they try to interact with humans. That is unique and never happened before. Mecca-Line is realizing the world's largest gathering of service robots, now happening in Shanghai.
马库斯拜尔，世界级主题娱乐项目制作人。
So my history is about creating entertainment attractions in the earlier before purely for theme parks, or much more for visitor attractions, tourist attractions, like I work for Madame Tussauds, for casino operators, but more and more also shopping malls are requesting new forms of entertainment to entertain the guests.
M-Robots.
The M-Robots lies in the powerful navigation software CogniDrive in our Myra framework. M-Robots continually calculate their path to their destinations based on a shared map.
M-Robots are unique in terms of hardware architecture and design. They have 3D cameras, motion sensors and rangefinders on board. It enables them to orientate themselves and to detect people and obstacles.
While driving, M-Robots show emotions on the screen. We have programmed several distinct characters for the robots. The software is linked to a content management system, so it is very easy for the operator to add and edit pictures, sound files and text in almost any language.
Actually, we started the development of the underlying technologies years ago, but now we enable the robots to work together and act as a group. For that, the M robots synchronize themselves within fractions of a second.
So in general, what you see here is in operation in a mall in Shanghai and several other malls from Mechaline. So, for example, in Shanghai, you will find alone 40 of the stores actually, 40 of these robots roaming around the stores. And it's just one example of a model where we were asked, the client has a problem, how to solve it and bring something unique they can market and help them with the problem. Thank you.
更是您购物娱乐体验的精彩搭档。准备好了吗 ？Homey， 不断学习和完善的智能机器人，从未来的梦想到今天可以为您提供全方位服务的导购专家，从严谨的科学研究和技术进步，到成为您奇趣搞怪、不可或缺的商场伙伴。Homey。 它不仅仅是红星美凯龙为您带来的一个
They also have names, the individual robots there. They have different faces, and their Mechaline calls them Homey. So in general, the product is called V Robots, and we branded it M Robots because of Mechaline in China.
您准备好了吗
Nice to check out if somebody is in China one time.
Marcos, based on your experience in China, I would like to introduce another keyword of our discussion, which is entertainment and edutainment in shopping mall. Exactly in China, I was quite surprised just a few weeks back. I visited the shopping mall called K11. Not sure if you're familiar with that. And they called K11 as a art mall. I found some interesting interaction between the shopping destination and the cultural destination for shoppers. So what they did, they basically did an agreement with formal institutional agreement with a foundation, Salvador Dali Foundation from Spain, and they brought Salvador Dali Foundation painters or the sculptures inside the shopping mall. Every 2 weeks, they have as a guest one new artist making exhibition. And actually, sometimes this exhibition turns in auction house as well. So you attract a lot of people for two reasons. There are a lot of people that, for many reasons, they don't go to auction house. They have no idea, and they didn't have this experience. And they get closer to arts, to piece of art. So you create a link, a real cultural link in terms of entertainment, which is not necessarily fun, can be culture as well. And you create a destination in terms of a real theater in the shopping center of people watching people sitting in front of an auction buying paintings. The other thing in the same mall, which is what my company is doing for a few years, I was, again, very surprised, is they brought a quite big glass cube in the middle of a corridor, permanent, not pop-up store, permanent, and they call every month one very famous chef from all over the world doing cooking classes live. So again, you have double engagement. You have a line, and the average you pay about 50 euro for 1 hour class. So it's a lot. You see a queue all the time, and people enjoy because, again, they like to learn and understand culture behind food. You were mentioning that before. this is for people that actually pay for that. Again, the surprise, the wow, what we call the wow effect, the surprise effect, is again from customers going around shopping mall. They are just stopping and staring behind the glass cube to check what's going on the other side. I want to be there. It's fun. I really like to be there. So, do you think that this kind of interaction, apart the real, usual, let's say, fun entertainment of customers, this new trend is coming to this part of the world, you think, or it's again going back to the theory of being a mature market?
I think the two examples you just mentioned show very clever what you can do if you really think well and have good ideas. Typically, the shopping mall operators, they don't think that far. So that's why it's a very good example, and you say it also as a very innovative example. We've worked, for example, for AIDA Cruises on art auctions for many, many years, and it's fantastic. All these examples, you have a chef cooking, you have an auction show exactly that when people are in the mall and roaming around and they see there's something's happening, interesting, they stand and watch. For example, in Dubai, you have the Dubai Aquarium in the Dubai Mall, people stand and watch. You have in Mirdif City Center several attractions, for example, iFly, where people can fly. But it's coming more and more event-based instead of permanent attractions like an aquarium or an iFly installation. People think of creative events where you can actually attract the people in a new way, and that's a really big trend now.
Can I just add to that as well? One of the things about the events and what's happening with the malls from an event perspective is we need to be careful that we're not distracting people from doing the thing that we want them to do, which is buy products from us. And if we go too far down this edutainment, entertainment route, we will lose the customers buying products from us. They come to the mall just to look at the things that are going on, and then they leave again. Now, when I have things going on in front of my store, that's a lot of distraction for the store itself. And I've had circumstances where customers, my actual customers, cannot get into the store because some event or edutainment thing is going on. So the mall owners, whilst it's good that they are trying to attract people into the store, at the same time they have to realize the reasons why we want customers in the mall is to actually buy products.
You're totally right. There has been done mistakes, and shopping malls in general, the stronger they are, the more they do what they want. But on the other side, you are in a shopping mall because they bring in people, and everything what they do to bring more people is good for you too.
Not always. I mean, we've had a lot of things that have happened like that, where actually what the mall is doing, because we're a mass market retailer, we actually do more marketing from our side than the mall does. So we are actually more of an attraction, especially as an anchor store, we are more of an attraction than the mall itself. So we spend more time bringing customers in, and then the mall tries to bring customers in, and they're perhaps not the customers that we want for our business.
Yeah, but have you ever thought about doing this standalone, not inside a mall then?
Yeah, we have some standalones, yeah.
Yeah, so in this case, you can easily judge what's more successful for you.
Yes.
You can actually,
Actually, it's more successful to do a standalone because I don't have to pay the 50% increases in rent every year.
As a grocery store, a supermarket, you can actually do same, like cooking shows live inside, this makes a lot of sense.
Which is where we need customers to interact more with the product. So whilst we're very good at letting customers interact with the products from a non-food perspective, because you get to play with the iPhone, you get to touch computers and things like that, we're not very good yet at letting people play with the food side of the business, and that's the next stage that we need to move to. So we're never going to be a luxury store as a hypermarket, but we can certainly attract and excite customers more than we do at the moment.
I would like, staying just one more minute, focus on sharing culture. Nisreen, I'm one of your, between your thousands of clients coming to see your store at least 3 times every week when I'm here. And it's very related to culture what you actually do in your store in terms of customer care service. I just speak for myself, from my experience. I don't have time anymore to follow like the new band, the music, whatever is updated. But I know what kind of music I like.
Yeah.
So every time I come to your stores, I have all the time somebody after me showing me and let me listen what, according to him, I should like based on my taste. And I find this another form of cultural interaction between the retailer, the store, and the customer. So you are actually teaching me, you are making me aware what's good for me, what's new, which I don't know.
Yeah. So the most valuable element of our business is the people. And when we do hire people to work in Virgin, and I think that, humbly, we have some of the best, some of the best individuals on our floor. We hire those, for example, if you're selling books, you have to be in love with books, you have to read, you have to really know what's up and coming. If you're in music, generally most of them are in bands, actually, or they play instruments and so on. Same with film, they're film buffs, or they film on the weekends, etc. So when you collectively have that kind of passion for technology, for Apple, for Samsung, etc., it translates onto the customer. They actually speak from experience. We try to bring an amalgamation of different interests, those who are interested in culture, and this is why we bring them from all over the world, because there are different tastes in different markets, and we cater to different nationalities. But I do believe that whatever your design is, it could be the best design, no offense to any designer, but it's very easy to hire a good company, pay them a check, and they can build a fantastic store for you. But if you walk in and the product does not translate, the people don't translate, it really doesn't mean anything. If the design doesn't fit with the culture of the store, then it will never complete the equation.
Sorry, can I just jump in over there for a second? Does that mean in a number of environments? Now, Virgin has the band members, it has the guitar players, it has the movie buffs coming in there. Not everyone can find those people. They're just not available.
Yes.
Are we moving to an environment where technology is going to play a larger role? The robots that we saw, or search and discovery happening through screens?
It's a good point, actually, because we don't always have to talk about the mega experiences of the cooking shows and people standing and queuing. They're actually very much smaller, compact experiences that we can provide in store, from a grocery store or a bigger department store. But it's proven now that the customer walks into the store expecting to find some form of digital presence, some kind of digital information. Videos playing about a product, some recipe ideas, to provide that impulse purchase in grocery. It's expected, and statistically, having those tools available in the store, so the physical component with the digital, increases your average spend as a customer by 35%. So we do bring those tools, and they help a lot. So a product demo, for example, I can hire the people, I can teach them how to do a fantastic demo, but a video is there on YouTube too, and people are checking it as they're in the store, equally the same. It's all happening at the same time, and it's become an expectation that they're going to find a lot of information. That's why the website or the online presence, even if you don't want to open it up to e-commerce, the information has to be on there. 60% of the young generation expect to find all the information they need on our website. So if they're comparing between the Samsung Curve and the iPhone 6s, they want to go to my site and find that I've done that homework for them. And if I don't do it for them, they're going to go to another site. So it's truly a blurred line.
One more keyword we have touched before is food, F&B. Recently, we are looking at a transition and more and more strong relation and interaction between the F&B component and any retailer, any brand. so offering food and beverage inside a store. And this is part, of course, of customer care, customer relation, going through like kind of a concierge, maybe sometimes services offering to your customers. This is the perfect example, I think, with Sidika.
Yes, so we set out to do, as I mentioned before, a very homey effect for our customers. So when people walk into the store, they can order a cup of coffee, a slice of cake, and while they're waiting for that, they can browse the shelves. We're a very family-friendly store, so I think if people are, forced to make purchasing decisions while they're standing, the people that are with them get restless or they feel rushed. But in our store, you can browse the shelves and you can feel comfortable knowing that your kids are at the table, that there's something for them to do at the same time. So it's a very holistic experience when people come in, and that's what we're going for. We want to have the full 360 approach to customer care. So we don't call our customers customers, we call them guests. That's how we see everyone in the store. And there is a very big synergy between what we do. For example, that it's a one-stop shop. Let's say it's your sister's birthday. You come and you order a cake. You can find a gift. You can get a card at the same time. And we try, I think that works because our store is a small concept store, that so many of my customers are on WhatsApp with me. It's so easy for them to order a cake and they ask me, hey, send me pictures of the clothes you have in store, let's choose something. And that's something that sets us apart because of the convenience. I think luxury today means convenience because we don't have the time. I personally don't have the time to spend an hour searching for things. So as a store, the easier you can make things for a customer, the better it is. But that's a bit off topic from the food and beverage question. But it's quite valid to the whole experience.
It's actually a very good point, and it's very related, I think, what we discussed before in terms of luxury perception and the difficulty to let, in kind of markets, to let people understand the value that there is behind the good. So I'm sure everybody knows the price of the goods, but very few people knows and understand the real value of the actual good. So what's behind that? The history of the brand, the heritage, why the brand now is positioned there, and what's the actual work behind the product. That's very few.
I'll just jump in there. We've got a big retail estate portfolio. We've got 780 stores. And the only thing that really matters is the bottom line. Okay, we can talk about it, it's great. The positive for this group and the experience I can share is when we invested in our experiential design in our stores, it doesn't have to be all singing or dancing, but it has to be, time is getting poorer, it has to be a luxury. And the bottom line is we have to look at densities, we have to look at all those good things. But our experience has been very, very positive in that we can quantify experiential design through sales and profit, and it's delivering more than if I spend millions on advertising. It's a simple metric. If we spend on the store and we do the right things, I deliver more profit for the business than I do if I spend on advertising and I drive customers into a store that way. So we can talk about a lot of things, but for someone like myself who's got a lot of stores to make profit on, actually seeing it financially return immediately that you do something is the best payback you can get. And then you get all the softer benefits of social media starts to like you. You get a bit more PR, you get all of the things that you want. And I think what Sidika's done in her store is fantastic. Being able to innovate. And I think what we need to do is in Dubai, particularly, is create an environment where mall owners don't produce homogeneous malls where everything looks the same. And the windows are this, and this is the demise line, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. If you want creativity, I don't come to Dubai anymore. I go to somewhere else. And that's not how it should be. So I think as an industry, not just retailers, but mall owners, we need to, allow creativity to happen. And from our experience, it can pay. It pays.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can share this, but I think it's a very interesting topic. But Sidika were discussing with us the difficulty at the beginning. She was very brave to start like one of the very first concept store, the real meaning of concept store here in Dubai. And you were sharing with us some difficulties in terms of getting a license with either to sell products as a retailer or to serve food as a F&B operator.
Yeah, it was a technical glitch on the system where they weren't going to give us a license because they didn't know what category to give us because we were both F&B and retail. And there was a lack of understanding for the need for these sort of products to grow, the sort of concept store that we were providing. There needs to be an understanding and a recognition that that's the way forward when it comes to retail. And so that was very difficult. That could have spelled sort of like the end of my business idea, just because of the lack of understanding of expanding your notion of what a shop should look like. So that's true, I agree. Like we, again, faced a lot of restrictions when it came to doing something to the outside of our store. We couldn't do anything, so it looks very generic. And so people have to actually, walk in to find out what we're all about. We can't really play with the outside, and that's something that I would like to change because you need to, you're competing with dozens of other stores, especially if you're in a mall, and if you can't engage your customers on the outside, that translates into fewer footfall into your actual stores. So it needs to be a full-rounded approach.
I think that's where I'm lucky because most of my store windows open every day. So my customers can see straight into my store, and this is what we'll be able to use when we start to change the merchandising in the store because all of my doors open. I've got 50 meters, 70 meters of frontage that I can actually use to expose my products, but it still means that we do still have a demise line. We still have to stop at a certain level, otherwise the mall owner stops us doing things. So even if you look down the flush line, you wouldn't actually see anything of our store at all. And it's the same for everybody. You look at the flush line, you can't see anything.
Rob?
No, it is a great shame that that's lost because in Dubai now the market is maturing so much, and in places there are stores in places like Al Quoz. There is even one now in Ras Al Khor called Design Ras Al Khor, which has amazing installations. It's actually the place is designed around an artist's vision and things like that. So it's there and people want to see it, but unfortunately it's only really the people in the industry who get to see it because we go and we find them and we go to places like Downtown Design and find these places and seek them out. But if the malls could just accept that a little bit and allow, and not just see an ice rink or an aquarium as a reason to get people there, that's great. But if they just allow retailers to do what they're good at internationally and create these experiences, they don't necessarily need all of that because the stores will be entertainment and good enough on their own to bring people in. And then they will shop.
Exactly. Now, next week, we are actually going to have a World Guinness record of the largest stack of Pringles in the world. But we can't do it in the mall. We have to do it in our store. So if the mall would, again, just come up, we can also create events that will bring people to the mall itself.
No, exactly.
Sometimes they don't just let it.
And there's so much in Al Quoz, the places that are there, the stores that are there are almost, they are mature like the European markets. They're there and they're interesting and places you want to go and see. But in the malls, what do you have? You just have the big brand names with the boring fronts and the normal products with nothing interesting. It's just normal shopping every day.
Last topic, maybe we have 5 minutes. We discussed about the wow effect, the surprise effect for customers. I recently see some pop-up stores coming here in the region, actually more and more. Very successful. We are related as a company with one of the biggest, actually I think it was the pioneer of pop-up stores in Europe, which is a We Are Pop-Up company. They started in Europe a few years back, mainly for two reasons. One reason is to give the chance to very young entrepreneurs, or anyway, small brands, to get visibility without spending that much money in terms of rents. Second, of course, to keep shopping malls full, yeah, all the time. So temporary stores, 5 weeks, 7 weeks. At the same time, what happened several times is that the very young entrepreneur got finally big visibility, and at the same time, with the visibility, got the chance to be in touch with bigger entrepreneurs that they were actually willing to invest money, co-invest money, to grow the brand internationally. Do you think that this is going to happen in this part of the world as well? And if you think that the market is ready for this?
It's already here, actually. There is a company that does that in the UAE and in Qatar. We've actually worked with them on 2 locations. I think it does make sense for young brands because it does give visibility. They have access to stores that are in between leases in very well-established malls like Dubai Mall and so on. So some concepts have done well, the younger ones. For us, it really hasn't been, but it gave us an opportunity, for example, to test certain malls where we weren't sure whether we belong or not, and that saved us maybe an investment that would have not gone as well as we had hoped. I think, pop-up, whether you want to call it pop-up, now worldwide the pop-up concept has kind of died, or the excitement around it has kind of died. But temporary space, whether it's within Fashion Forward, or whether it's around events, or Redfast, or that kind of thing, is here to stay, for sure, as a trend. But again, back to the malls. So say you want to open up a pop-up concept. Some malls are more willing than others, but it comes at a hefty price sometimes. Even if it's a wall installation, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dirhams. So if you are an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur, that's not coming cheap either in this part of the world, unfortunately. And then you have to man it. We can't bring in part-timers, so you hire full-timers. You're putting them on 40-hour weeks. They're working in the summer. There's not much business in the summer. So it starts as a very exciting creative project, and then it ends up being a very taxing financial project.
Any other thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would say exactly the same. I mean, obviously we would never really do a pop-up shop per se, but from the mall perspective, they need to be a lot more open about letting people open these small businesses and interact. I would rather have that than the entertainment, yeah, because I think it supports my business more.
What about a dedicated area for temporary stores?
Yes, yeah, and for small entrepreneurs, especially locally. I mean, we've got businesses obviously in Kuwait, Bahrain, and here. So if you are bringing in temporary stores, and one of the things that we're investigating at the moment, we were at Comic-Con, and we saw all the artists at Comic-Con. So we wouldn't have a problem with actually giving some of our in-store space on a regular weekend basis to a couple of artists so that they can actually sell their art inside the store. So there's things like that that we can also do as a very, very big retailer that will also help the SMEs.
If I can add something, I think it's important when you're designing a store not to think of yourself as a business and your customer as a customer. You have to see yourself as a person and your customer as a person. You need that, that link, because nowadays people won't just come to a store for the product they buy, they come for the experience. So what we've done is, and that's something we always wanted to do, we have our own book club, we have weekly leadership talks, we do kids classes, we do Spanish conversation groups, and that's how the word is getting out about us, because people don't just see us as, like maybe a shop, they see us as an experience and a place that the community can get together. And the more you do that, the more of a relationship you develop with the community. So that's what I see it as. I don't see me entering a market. When we opened, I saw me doing something for the community. And I think if you have that in mind and you constantly evolve based on how people are changing, then you will be successful.
So you were talking about the social aspect.
Yeah.
To give actually something back to your, not only to your customer, but to your community, around you. You want to just have a quick, very quick round to close our, to wrap up our panel?
I not really know where I should pick up now, but I think for me most important is you can do all of the things if it fits to your brand well, right? If you go back to the story, if it helps you tell your story, if it helps your brand to stand out from the others, whatever it is, if it's this very personal contact or if it's like a world record, both is well fitting for each of the formats. And that's why it's good, and that's why it's working. And you have to find out what are you, what you want to do, what is the best thing for you to do, and how you can implement this in your store. I mean, that's the key. So you not just can pick the best ideas and all throw it in. It will not work. The ideas and what you want to do has to fit with the whole thing. The design, the customer flow, the product, your events, everything. And then you can do something proper and it will work out for you personally. That's why there are so many concepts out there and each work, high price, low price, whatever.
Social engagement is very important for us and it actually differs from country to country. So again, we are known to be a platform for young entrepreneurs. We do a lot of these types of pop-ups within our stores to encourage young businesses, local artists, local film producers, local inventions as well. So if we don't do it, who will? So we have to play that part and we play it very seriously. I think the days of an international brand coming into the Middle East and just enforcing a European strategy or an American strategy is long gone. The consumer here is demanding localized product that has a sense of purpose. And again, we talk about the young generation. 60% of our customers are under 24 years old, at least in this market. And the number one reason they would shop with a brand is because of what it's giving back to a community. And even though these statistics are worldwide statistics, they very much apply to this region as well.
When it comes to the social aspect, we are extremely active in that, addressing all the communities in Kuwait, including the local communities. We support breast cancer, we support the local artists. When it comes down to other communities, we support all kinds of artists. We also go into their social interests. We support events that they do. We try and reach out to each and every of our customers.
No, I think so. Yeah, social is one of the most important things. In the UAE especially, there is such a need for it. If you look at the growth of things like the Ripe Market, that have grown into these huge places where people love to go, and there's all very small businesses starting up and trying to sell their products with the people who own the businesses and have either created the product or found it themselves, and they are the ones selling it. There is such a personal feeling to that, but unfortunately here we still don't have that in the places where most people shop, which is the shopping malls, and they have to go out to these places to have it. And we're also now starting to work with local artists and local creators of product, because I think there is a real desperate need for that in the market today that we've lost through these huge malls that only want to deal with the big brand names coming from international.
Our group company, the Josh & Mal organization, it's almost 100 years old. We've been in this region for that period of time. It is our responsibility as people, as residents, to try to give back to community. But in these countries, sometimes we find it difficult to work with various government regulations in terms of where the fund's going to go, who's going to monitor the funds, are they controlled by some government entity? So things that we do pretty much by ourselves on the quiet as human beings in the society where we live. We have found it difficult to do pretty much cut and paste activities that many of the companies do in Europe and the United States, where you launch a brand, you do an activity, and 10% of sales goes to a particular charity. You can't do that here because there are so many different regulatory boards involved in controlling that. Being socially responsible for our community is definitely warrant for us as business people, as human beings. But for us, it's something we do ourselves internally and quietly.
So I'm coming from Austria, and I don't know if you're aware what's happening right now with refugees now in Austria and Germany. There is 10,000 of people crossing our border, and there is no border anymore because nobody can keep the people away from the border because there is not so many police who can do it. And social engagement is a big word for Austria and Germany nowadays in general about humanity. But when it comes to shopping, I think shopping malls so far don't think a lot about social engagement, and everybody who runs stores in large shopping malls should work on the shopping mall owners to give weaker groups or weaker artists a platform. There is so much room in a shopping mall, and people would like to see people from different nations and weak groups, and I think there is a lot of opportunities, but somebody needs to push the mall operators to go into this direction much more.
I would like just to add one more thing. We had a chance to do in the past two kind of experiences. With a very strong agreement with municipalities, this is back to Europe, municipalities and institutions, so basically Minister of Culture, bringing actual museums into shopping malls, giving some space for free, of course, to let people enjoy museum and culture, and this was very good in terms of, again, social feedback from community. The other thing, very well done, and we are doing over and over again, on the rooftop, this is, you can do it here in Dubai some months of the year, not always, but on the rooftop of a shopping center, we brought a social garden. So, you know, just growing tomatoes, salad for kids of elementary school. So again, an agreement with Ministry of Culture and schools of the city, of the town, that accordingly to the opening hours and the classes in school, they were bringing kids to learn, to teach and learn how to grow, you know, a fresh garden. This is the social aspect. If you look at the rewards, of course, in terms of, okay, and after that, this is social aspect, good, very good. At the end of the day, what's the point, the good point in terms of revenues for the shopping mall? Well, 100% of the kids, they go back home after school and after the experience in the shopping center, and they go to their parents, and they say, you know, this morning I've learned how to put seeds to grow tomatoes. So can you come back with me to the shopping center so I can show you what I have done? And then in 2 weeks, I will bring back again to show you my tomatoes. So this kind of engagement is working very good, and I think it's good in terms of social again.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is to understand what works for you as a business, what works for your customer. A lot of people here in Dubai tend to jump on this trending bandwagon, and we see, as most of us I think would admit, that trends can start up and die just as fast. So you need to understand what works for you as a concept. Is it going to make sense, you know, financially? Is it going to make sense for your customer base? And I think people need to get away from these rigid ideas of what it means to own a store or run a business. And as I think everyone here has asserted, it's more about engaging with your customer and providing that personal experience. So that's what I think is the way forward. Thanks.
From a social point of view, for Lush is part of their core values. So we like to invest within the communities and work with the communities, work with schools, work with local organisations in running various kind of workshops, and we rely on that buy-in back to us. So the work that we put out there, we don't use a hell of a lot of publicity or marketing. We do it through word of mouth, through the amazing staff that we have working in our stores, and then we spread the message out through the communities that way. Then we obviously get that return back from them within our stores. So from my point of view, the social point is huge for us, as well as the store design, as well as that kind of the storytelling within that experience that the customer has within the shop. Thank you.
Yeah, for us, social responsibility starts early. We're one of the only retailers that actually charge you for a plastic bag. And the plastic bag syndrome that everybody seems to have in this country, people just don't want to move away from it. Yet still, we are the only single mass market retailer that charges for your plastic carrier bags. And we also offer the alternative jute bags, which people do buy, and they buy a lot of them. The money that we actually make from the plastic bag selling goes to local worldwide World Wildlife Fund, and that supports the oryx, it supports the turtles, so we're quite serious about it as well, but we don't shout about it. It's just something that we do.
The last thing I think I'd probably like to share is picking up the point of social. As we've developed our retail environment, and it's become more of an experience, we've just found that our customers interact with us more socially as well. It's a byproduct we didn't expect. They relax in our environment and they talk to us more. So we actually find out more by having a more relevant environment. So when you start to join it up, it starts in the store and you start to join it up, it's amazing what can come out of it. So it's worked for us.
On that note, I think I'm hearing some stomachs rumbling in the audience, so it might just be a good time to break for lunch. Luca, thank you very much for moderating that. Sadiqa, gentlemen, it's been great having you here, and we'll see you for the rest of the afternoon.